Yo, what's up everybody, it's Stewart. Today I've got another video about some more characters from my debut novel, The Battle for Metagore. All my links are down below. You can go pre-order. I got pre-order giveaway. My illustrator's links down below for his Twitter and his YouTube. Go check him out, he's dope. Yeah, let's get right into it. All these characters are from Alberon, which is a Plainsland type kingdom on the far western portion of Metagore. They are very tribal, a little primal, I guess, in a sense. Had very strong influences from other tribal cultures with their history, with their traditions, holidays, celebrations, stuff like that. I'm going to be doing a blog later this week about all of that, most of that on my website. You can go check out that link down below and learn more about that. But back into the characters, which is the purpose of this story, or this video, so you understand and get to know some of my characters from my story. The first one is Moll'ar. He is the Grand Duke and Lord over Alberon. When the war breaks out and all the other Grand Dukes besides Gallic starts to rebel, he joins it. He takes his land and says he's going to leave, but he doesn't have the intention of actually fighting in the war. He wants to take his land and just kind of separate and them be their own land, their own kingdom, without really getting involved in the war or get involved with the other kingdoms, because he doesn't really care to have the crown. He just doesn't appreciate the way that it went about Cornelius receiving the crown. So he wants to just kind of take his land and live peacefully by themselves. Moll'ar appears to be about 29 years old. He's got green eyes, brown hair, as you can tell. He's a Morling, which is a shapeshifter in my world. He can transform between his elven form to a foo dog. And if you don't know what foo dogs are, they are basically the canine virgin. They're basically the canine version of a lion. They're, thick upper body, thinner lower body, got that big mane. It's just like a giant lion, but more canine with the snout and the ears and such. He's very humble. He's very family oriented. He's a hard worker. He goes out into the fields and farms with his people under him, his serfs and laborers and stuff. And Alberon is a heavily farming community culture. He goes out there day after day and helps them. He doesn't see himself above them. He sees himself with them. He wasn't born into royalty or into a political, family or anything like that. He was elected Grand Duke because he used to be a warrior, and for Alberon, their rulers are based off of their strongest warrior. And he's got these scars on his arms and his chest, as you can see in the picture, which are brands. They refer to it as being branded by battle. Each time you fight in a battle, afterwards you get one ring around your arm, and then after your second battle you get another ring, and third you get a third ring, and etc, etc. So more rings around your arm you have is more battles you've fought in and you haven't died. And once your arms get full, you start going across your chest, and then you start working your way down. So Moll'ar has been in all these battles and is still, alive. So he's seen as a highly decorated warrior, which is how he became Grand Duke. He is a very strong warrior, and he's a very hard-working person. He's very humble, and like I said, he's very family-oriented. He has a wife and 2 kids, and he would do anything for them. He loves them with everything. His wife is Laurelin. She appears about 27 years old. She's also a Morling. She transforms into a Duba, which I mentioned in last week's video with Manny. It's a hyena bear type hybrid. It's a form of canine. She's got black hair. She dyes part of it with strips of red. She isn't originally from Alberon. She is from Lafir. She's from Summerforge, which is a kingdom on the land of Lothair. And she married Moll'ar as a form of political gain for her family in Lothair, because they were not the king or lord or anything like that, but they do have some power over there. And then she moved to Alberon to marry Moll'ar, in a form of a bond between those two kingdoms, to, have that little political gain on both sides. Her and Moll'ar both have 2 kids. They have a son named Onan. He appears to be about 6 years old. He's a very comical child. He wants to be just like his dad, but at the same time he's a child, so he doesn't have the patience and determination to be as hardworking as his dad. But he still likes to go out there and act like he's, one of the big boys. You see him working with his dad a couple times. It's kind of cute. He's jumping on a shovel, trying to dig and stuff, and not really being strong enough to really get much out of the ground. Later you see him whenever he's talking to his dad, and they're talking about the war, and he has a stick, and he throws his stick and it says, I'm getting good at my spear throwing, can I go fight in the war? He wants to be an adult, but he's just 6, so he's not an adult. He's far from it. But he's cute. It was fun writing from his point of view. And it was kind of easy to write from a 6-year-old's point of view, because I have a 6-year-old. So it was very kind of easy, and I could totally see my daughter acting like him at times. Their other child is Athena, which is his daughter. She's at the start of the story, when you first meet her, she's about 4 months old. She's just learned to kind of roll over. She hasn't really started learning how to crawl yet. Went out of focus for a moment. And she doesn't really have much part in the story, because she's just a baby. And my story's not one of those, this is the prophecy child or what. No. But she's there. They do have 2 kids. After Moll'ar's family, you have his duke, which is Paul. Paul is a satyr. He appears to be about 32 years old. He's got brown eyes. He's bald-headed. He's not used to working. He's not like Moll'ar. Moll'ar is a hard worker. He will go out in the fields every day and help the farmers farm. Paul's not like that. He would rather drink. He'd rather do anything than actually have to do physical labor. He is very built and buff and appears to be very strong. But that's just in his genetics, in a sense. He doesn't really try. He's not a bodybuilder. He doesn't try to make himself look big. He's not very aggressive. He doesn't like fighting. He'd rather try to settle things with his words and drink. So him and Moll'ar kind of clash personality-wise, in a sense. Under him, you got Terrace, which is the Marquess of Alberon. He is a Minotaur. He's roughly about 45 years old. And he is all for the war when it starts. He thinks that Moll'ar should join the war, for the sole fact that the other kingdoms don't care if he's not in the war or not. They will probably still attack. So he thinks that Moll'ar should still participate in the war. So that's, he's more military, got a militaristic mind, which he's a Marquess, so he should have more of a militaristic mind, but he's more of the offensive, while Moll'ar is more kind of, don't really want to say passive, but he doesn't really want to get involved in the war if he doesn't have to. And if he has to, then okay, he will. But he's a warrior. He's got that background. He knows what should be done and how it should be done. But he doesn't really want it to. while Terra's is like, we need to be in this war. We need to protect ourselves. Under that, we have two warriors that we actually follow. One is Aizen, who is a 46-year-old lich. Which liches are like sorcerers. They appear elven, and as they use their magic, their body kind of starts deteriorating and corroding, and they start to age a lot faster that way. But he's got thin black strands of hair that he keeps braided. He's got yellow cat eyes, which all my liches have cat eyes. They're usually yellow, some of them are red, but the majority are yellow. He's a warrior, so he's been branded by battle, all up and down his arms and such. But he also has brands on his face, and the brands on his face are brands of treachery. That's how the Alberians do a lot of their markings. When you become a man, when you take the Walk of Roses is what they call it. Here's a little bit of history for you. They have a holiday. It's like a week-long celebration once a year called the Walk of Roses. It's mentioned in the story. It doesn't really explain it, but they do refer to, the Walk of Roses, and it's usually between Aizen and Terra, which is the other warrior I'm about to talk about. But what it is the Walk of Roses is a week-long celebration to celebrate the boys becoming men. And part of the ritual celebration at the very end for all the boys that become a man that year, that's like the only point of the year that you are classified to be a man. And if you don't participate or successfully complete it, then you're not a man and you're still classified as a boy regardless how old you are, until the next year we can get to try it again. But to actually, the completion of that whole process on the last day for all the boys who have successfully completed their task of becoming a man, they have this ritual where they cut their palm of their hand and then they let the blood drip into a bowl. And then later they pour the bowl over a totem of a Strix, which is an owl-like creature, which is their national bird. It's what's on their flag and such. That's what they are known for, basically, is the Strix. But after they cut their hand, they have that gash, they take a piece of metal or a stick or something, get it warm, and then they press it up against the cut so it will burn the tissue back together, so you're not constantly bleeding. So you have this scar on your hand, the palm of your hand where the bend is. But that's a way to recognize, if you see a male person, you can grab their hand and look, see if they've got that, and then, okay, you are a man. Or you could be, appear to be like 80-something years old, hands still all smooth, and you ain't got it, and you still classify as a boy, just a child, because you never took the Walk of Roses. You never did what it took for their culture to become a man. So you have that markings. You have the markings being branded by battle. They take these metal hooks and they place it around the wrist, and then they place it on the other side of the wrist to make the ring all the way up, like how Moll'ar has it. Once that's done, they take the hook to sideways across it and then turn it the other way and across, and so on and so forth. So that way you can be branded that way, and in forms of, you participated in battle before and, you're still alive. You don't have to win the battle. It doesn't matter how big or how long the battle was, as long as it was a battle. And they have a definition of battle. It has to be against, actual people. It can't be just a battle against some type of wildlife or whatever. It has to be more equally matched. It can't be just like an onslaughter. It has to be kind of a decent battle in a sense. You have two armies, kind of evenly matched in a sense. Ooh, and that's kind of how they brand that. But if you want, you could wear, gloves to cover up your hand. You can wear long sleeve shirts and stuff to cover up your chest and arms. So those aren't always visible. But if you get caught doing something, if you're a criminal of some sort, or you are being held for treason or treachery, they brand your face. They take that same metal hook that they do the arms with, or the chest, or whatever, brattle, and they place it on their face and make these little half circle engravings, scars on their face, on their cheeks, on their forehead. And that's how they mark those type of people. You know, so if you see someone with scars on the face, you know they're more of a bad guy, and they put it on their face because, like I said, you can wear sleeves and gloves and stuff to kind of cover up your arm and stuff. Can't really cover up your face unless you're wearing a mask or hood, and it's not that cold of a land. Even in the winter, most places still doesn't get too cold. Up around the northern portions, they do see some snow, but the majority of it doesn't get that cold. And if you see someone wearing a mask or something, you know they're trying to cover up their face, which means they're probably more likely got those scars on their face. Eisen is one of those guys. He doesn't wear the hood or the mask or anything, but he does have branding on his face for treachery. And what caused him to get those brands is mentioned in the story, so if you want to know, you got to go click that link and buy it and find out. But he does have that. He has the brands from being a boy or becoming a man, branded by battle, and then the treachery. The last character is Terra. She is also a warrior. She appears to be about 19 years old. She's a Morling as well. She's a Baku when she transforms into her animal spirit. Baku is basically a mammoth. They usually have more of a, not as much of a cloven hoofed type of feet like most elephants do. But they are more like paw-like. And their fur is more white and grays and stuff. And some of them's got stripes type designs on it. So that's what a Baku is. It's like a mammoth in a sense. But yeah, she appears to be about 19. She is a northern Alberian. She lives almost as close as you can get before you get into Braham. And that's mentioned by Eisen. He even tells her, he's like, you're about as northern as northern get. You might as well be from Braham. The settlement that she lives in is called Northwind. North, obviously. It's on the banks of River Song Stream in the Willowgate region. She's part of the Willowgate tribe. And all these kingdoms have different regions and stuff, and yeah. She's got black hair, green eyes. Her being from the north of Alberon, and the majority of it being below her, she is very distant from a lot of the traditions and cultures. She knows, you know, the Walk of Roses, and then they have another holiday called Day of Oblation, and stuff like that. She knows some of it. She doesn't really know the history of Alberon. She doesn't know why the Strix is on their banner. She doesn't know anything about the Diamond River and there being a statue at the end of it. She doesn't know anything about Adazul, which is one of the old gods that the Alberians used to worship, and all these other things. She doesn't really know about them because she is way north and very distant from the masses of Alberon and the capital and everything else. So her and Eisen, a lot of their conversation is kind of, you know, talking about some of that history and some of these reasons and this and that. But yeah, that's about it. Like I said earlier, all my links are down below. Leo's links down below. You can check him out. He's got some videos of progression things. I don't know if he's got Moll'ar up or not, or if you will, or anything. But I know he's got a few. He's got some other videos as well. Go check out his YouTube, his Twitter. All my links are below. I got a pre-sale giveaway going on. You can sign. You can sign the book, I guess, if you want. But you can win a free signed copy of my debut novel, The Battle for Metagore. All links down below for that. There's the giveaway. There's the actual link for the pre-order, which is only available on Barnes & Noble for some reason. Amazon still needs to get their stuff in check. Eventually it will be on there, even if I have to keep calling them. But yeah, peace out. Everybody love everybody.